They did not begin with gardens. They began with stone. In the heart of Babylon, the ground was cleared. Lines were drawn. Foundations were measured with precision that left no room for error. This was not decoration. This was engineering. Massive blocks were set into the earth one by one, stone pressed against stone, forming a base meant to carry unimaginable weight. Every layer had to be strong enough, not just to stand, but to hold soil, trees, and flowing water far above the ground. Terraces began to rise, not as walls, but as platforms, each level stacked carefully upon the last, creating a structure that climbed upward instead of outward. Columns were aligned, beams were placed. Nothing was random. Every angle served a purpose. Every surface anticipated pressure yet to come. But stone alone could not create a garden. Water would be the true challenge. In a land ruled by heat and dust, water had to be lifted, again and again, to heights no river could naturally reach. Hidden within the structure, channels were carved. Shafts were formed behind walls. The movement of water was planned before the first tree ever touched soil. Layer upon layer, the terraces were sealed. Stone, clay, bitumen, every surface protected so water would nourish life, not destroy the structure beneath it. As the foundations climbed higher, soil was brought upward. Dark, fertile earth placed where only stone had existed before. Roots were planted, slowly, carefully. Life introduced to a place never meant to be green. Water reached the terraces. It flowed through channels hidden from sight, emerging calmly where plants waited, not in torrents, but in controlled, deliberate streams. What began as raw stone started to change. The structure softened, leaves climbed over edges. Vines traced the lines of ancient architecture. The higher the terraces rose, the more impossible the vision became. A garden suspended above the desert. When the final levels were completed, water fell gently from one terrace to the next, not as destruction, but as harmony. Stone had become a living mountain, built not for survival, but for wonder. And yet, the greatest question was still unanswered. Stone alone could never sustain a garden. Water was the true miracle. In the heat of Babylon, water did not belong to the heights. Rivers flowed low. Gravity ruled the land. And yet, water appeared above the city. Hidden behind walls of stone, channels carried a steady flow. Not rushed, not chaotic, calm, continuous. No open machinery stood in sight. No visible force pushed the water upward. It simply moved, quietly, deliberately, as if the structure itself understood where the water needed to go. Shafts rose within the terraces. Grooves were carved with intention. Every turn, every slope, every angle guided the flow without revealing its source. In the shadows, water climbed. It filled basins hidden from view, spilled into channels no one could see from the outside, then emerged gently where roots waited in dry soil. There was no waste, no excess. Each drop followed a path, planned long before the garden was ever complete. The system did not rely on speed, it relied on balance. Water rose, water rested, water descended again, feeding each level in turn. Day after day, the flow remained steady, not watched, not adjusted, simply working. To those who saw the gardens from below, it looked like magic. Green life thriving where it should not exist. But behind the beauty, something unseen was at work. A knowledge passed quietly, built into stone, hidden beneath leaves and water. We can see the result. We can follow the water's path. But the question remains, how did they make it rise? For something so vast, so carefully built, one would expect it to leave a trace. Stone foundations, inscriptions, records carved into history. And yet, Babylon remained silent. The city recorded wars, kings, temples, but nowhere in its surviving texts is there a clear description of a garden rising above the desert. No tablet claims its design. No stone bears its name. What we know comes from elsewhere, from travelers, from writers who lived far away, from words passed across generations, copied, retold, and imagined. Some described terraces covered in green, others spoke of flowing water and shaded paths. But none could point to a place and say, here it stood. Centuries passed, the land changed, empires fell. Sand reclaimed what stone could not protect. Excavations searched for answers, foundations were uncovered, walls were measured, but no structure emerged that could explain a garden of such scale. And so the question remains, was the Hanging Gardens of Babylon a masterpiece erased by time? Or a story built from admiration, mistaken for memory? A vision so powerful that history accepted it without proof. Perhaps the gardens did exist, not in stone, but in imagination. Or perhaps they stood briefly, defying nature and gravity, before disappearing without a trace. We are left with words and silence. A wonder remembered, yet never found. And a final question, history refuses to answer. Did it ever exist?